Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Man in custody as multiple rape probes intensify in St. Anne. A man is in police custody as investigators in St. Anne stepped up a probe into a series of rapes and abductions in the parish. The suspect's identity is being withheld pending further investigation. He was arrested last week in the parish of St. Mary and handed over to police investigators in St. Anne. According to law enforcers, in the coming days he is to face a series of other identification parades for a number of rape incidents, this after having been pointed out on one such parade last week. Meanwhile, efforts are underway by the police to apprehend other suspects who were allegedly involved in the rape incidents. The total number of rape and abduction incidents that are being investigated has not been ascertained. It was reported that several women have been abducted by men traveling in motor cars and taken as far as Portland, where the hoodlums had sex with them without their consent. Some of the incidents were reported to the police, resulting in a probe being launched. The concerning developments sent fear among some residents of the parish, with several voice notes being circulated citing serial rapists on the loose in the parish. But despite those claims, there were 5 reported rape cases in St. Anne last month. It was not clear how many rape cases have been recorded so far in February. U.S. law enforcement thanks Jamaican cops for nabbing 20-year-old fugitive. Miami-Dade State Attorney Catherine Fernandez Rendell, in cooperation with Gladiax h0ot, the United States Marshal for the Southern District of Florida, and a number of other law enforcement agencies in the U.S., has announced the return to Miami-Dade County of convicted fugitive Christopher Harvey. Harry was originally arrested on January 31, 1999, and charged with 3 counts of vehicular homicide and 1 count of leaving the scene of an accident resulting in death. The result of an automobile crash that occurred at the intersection of Northwest 199th Street and Northwest 37th Avenue in Miami-Dade County in the early hours of January 30th. The collision resulted in the death of 24-year-old Daylin Bueno, a mother of 2, 37-year-old Becky Ballistas Marquez, also a mother of 2 children, and 24-year-old Maria Arandans, a college student who was in town to visit her grandmother. The women were returning home from a gathering when Harvey, traveling westbound at an estimated speed of 75 miles per hour on Northwest 199th Street, failed to stop at a red flashing light and crossed Northwest 37th Avenue, colliding with the woman's late model Honda Civic motor car traveling southbound on Northwest 37th Avenue. After the accident, Harvey fled the scene without attempting to render aid to the victims. On March 27, 2000, Harvey entered a plea of no contest to all the charges against him. The criminal court found him guilty and sentenced him to 12.5 years in prison. At his lawyer's request, the court gave Harvey until June 1, 2000 to get his affairs in order, at which point he was to turn himself in to begin serving his sentence. Instead, Harvey fled the country. In 2007, a tip was revealed that Harvey was possibly in custody in Cuba. However, a lack of formal relations between Cuba and the United States made extradition nearly impossible. In 2009, information was acquired that Harvey was in Jamaica. After a request was submitted to Jamaica for his extradition, he was taken into custody by the Jamaican authorities and has now been returned to Miami. The families of these 3 women killed by Christopher Harvey were re-victimized when he fled the country in 2000. Mr. Harvey admitted his guilt in criminal court but ran away from his personal responsibility for these crimes, just as he ran away on the night of this dreadful incident 22 years ago, said State Attorney Catherine Fernandez Rendell. Thanks to the resolute effort and commitment of my prosecutors and staff in the extradition section of my legal unit, and the commitment of the U.S. Marshals Service Fugitive Task Force, the Department of Justice's Office of International Affairs, the Jamaica Constabulary Force, Jamaica Fugitive Apprehension Team, and Homeland Security investigators, Christopher Harvey will now see justice he so long sought to avoid. Today is certainly a day these victimized families have long waited to see, said Fernandez Rendell. We thank Jamaica for its critical assistance on this case, said Vaughn Ari, director of the U.S. Department of Justice Office of International Affairs, OIA. OIA is dedicated to the mission of ensuring that fugitives who flee overseas are apprehended and are returned to face justice. Working with our foreign law enforcement counterparts, the Miami State Attorney's Office, and law enforcement agencies, OIA was able to help facilitate the return of Christopher Harvey after 20 years, showing again that, regardless of the passage of time, OIA will not rest in its effort to advance public safety both for our citizens and for citizens in countries around the world. Man injured in Spanish Town bypass high-speed shootout. A man remains in hospital in serious condition following a reported high-speed shootout along the Spanish Town bypass in St. Catherine last night. However, a police source revealed that cops intercepted an Audi motor car in Central Village, also in the parish, with 4 male occupants who may be related to the incident. Residents indicated that the incident along the bypass happened about 10:30 p.m. They stated that a silver Toyota Probox with a man and other occupants was in high-speed chase with another car, believed to be a white Nissan AD wagon, when they heard a barrage of gunshots. The Toyota Probox reportedly lost control and crashed into a wall near the intersection of Job Lane and the bypass. One man, believed to be the driver of the ill-fated vehicle, sustained gunshot wounds and was trapped inside the vehicle. It was reported that the 3 other occupants managed to free themselves from the vehicle and fled before the police arrived on the scene. The police indicated that more than a dozen spent shells believed to have been fired from a high-caliber weapon were recovered at the scene. 2-year-old boy dies from vehicle crash in Spanish Town, car torched. Law enforcers from the Spanish Town Police are investigating the circumstances surrounding a crash that claimed the life of 2-year-old Tayshawn McDonald of March Pen Road in Spanish Town, St. Catherine on Saturday, February 6. Reports are that about 11:30 a.m., Tayshawn was in his community when he was hit by a Suzuki Swift motor car that was traveling along 19 Lane towards March Pen Road. The child was transported to hospital by a passing motorist but died while being treated. The vehicle that was involved in the crash was set ablaze by an angry mob after the occupant fled the scene on foot. The police and members of the Spanish Town Fire Department were contacted to conduct cooling down operations and investigate the incident. The police are appealing to anyone with information that can assist with the investigation to contact the Spanish Town Police at 876-984-2305, the police 119 emergency number, or the nearest police station. Alleged robbers reportedly caught red-handed with $1 million worth of loot. Detectives in Highgate St. Mary have arrested and charged 2 men with shop breaking and larceny following 2 incidents in the parish on Saturday, January 30th. The men have been identified as 26-year-old David Desgotes, a taxi operator, and 32-year-old Malana Francis, otherwise called Tutu, both of Buff Bay in Portland. Reports are that about 8:30 p.m. on Saturday, January 30th, the now accused men broke into a bar and stole a quantity of assorted liquors valued at $250,820. About 9 p.m. the same evening, the now suspects reportedly broke into another establishment and stole items valued at over $700,000. They reportedly hid the stolen items in bushes for pickup at a later date. About 8:30 p.m. on Sunday, January 31st, David and Malana reportedly returned to where the loot was hidden and were loading a motor car with the stolen items when they were accosted by the police. They were subsequently arrested and charged, and the motor vehicle and the stolen items were seized. A date for their appearance in court is being finalized by the police. 244 new COVID-19 cases, one more death in 24 hours. The Ministry of Health and Wellness has announced the recording of one more COVID-19 related death locally over a 24-hour period up to Saturday afternoon. The deceased is a 58-year-old male from the corporate area. The ministry, in advising of 244 new cases of the virus over the same 24-hour period, said the batch brought the total number of confirmed positive cases nationally to 17,085. The new cases include 98 males and 146 females. The ages among the new cases ranges from 4 months to 92 years. Kingston and St. Andrew with 58 cases, Manchester with 32, and St. Anne with 31 led the way among the parishes in terms of the new case count. Over the 24-hour period, a total of 1,408 samples were tested, the ministry reported, and recoveries have increased, with 46 cases being recorded over the one-day period. The ministry also reported that of 149 persons now hospitalized with the virus, 10 are classified as being moderately ill, while 15 are classified as being critically ill. Chess hospital staff transferred to blood bank after COVID outbreak. The Ministry of Health and Wellness had advised that the blood collection at the National Chest Hospital has been put on hold to facilitate the deployment of staff to the Sly Pen Road-based National Blood Transfusion Service, popularly called the Blood Bank, where a cluster of COVID-19 cases has been identified. According to the ministry, 11 positive cases were identified from 46 staff members who were tested at the public health laboratory. It said arrangements are being put in place to test the remaining 5 members of staff. The ministry further said staff members who are positive will be placed in isolation even as the management team moves to ensure that the operations of the blood bank and its blood collection network continue to operate. Meanwhile, the ministry said blood collection will continue at National Chest Hospital on Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., but during the week, persons are asked to visit the Sly Pen Road donation site. Falmouth Mayor lauds detectives for quick response to church murder. Falmouth Mayor Gager has lauded the Trelawny Police, in tandem with support from neighboring St. James, for their swift action in apprehending 3 persons in connection with the chilling murder of 51-year-old Andrea Lowe Garwood, a bank manager of Brook Manor in Falmouth, Trelawny, at a church at Market Street in Falmouth on Sunday, January 31st. Detectives from the Falmouth Criminal Investigation Branch, CIB, have charged 3 men in connection with the shooting death of Lowe Garwood. The accused are 23-year-old Leon Hines, a shopkeeper of Rose Heights, Montego Bay, St. James, who has been charged with murder, illegal possession of firearm, accessories before the fact, accessories after the fact, and conspiracy to murder. 29-year-old Javon Garwood, otherwise called Janoy, who has been charged with murder and conspiracy to murder, and Dwight Brigham, who has been charged with murder and illegal possession of firearm. The detectives must be commended for the swift apprehension of the 3 persons who are alleged to be linked to the heinous crime in the parish. This is the first time in our recent history that we have had a murder in the church in our parish, said Gager. Police work is hard work. Hence, when they perform outstandingly, they should be commended. The police in our parish have built a reputation for their high percentage of clear-up cases. Commendations are in order for the detectives assigned to the parish, said Gager. Reports are that about 10:30 a.m. last Sunday, Lowe Garwood was in a worship session at the church when a man posing as a member of the congregation walked over to her and shot her several times in the upper body. She was taken to hospital where she died while undergoing treatment. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.